Alright, today we're going to look at the Alltrans software mobile driver application. Go through some of the features as well as process a trip. So you can find our application either on iOS or Android by searching for Alltrans software. You can also find a direct link on our website at www.alltranssoftware.com. You can click on iOS or Android and it will bring you right to the download. Once you get this downloaded, the very first time you log in, there's an Alt Login button. This can be ignored for 99.9% of all drivers. Once you log in the very first time, you will not see this alternate login again. If you're a driver and you try to log in with the alternate login, you won't be successful. So every driver is going to be given a user ID, a password, and an agency code. Which will allow you to access the mobile app. Now the very first time you log in, we're going to ask for your signature as a driver. This can be reset or recaptured at any time, but your office, the dispatch, or your company will need to reset it to allow this box to come back up. But for the most part, you shouldn't see this on a login going forward. So I've captured my signature and I'm going to hit update. The very first screen that I see is a driver management screen. And this will only appear if one of these three options are turned on for you as a driver. We have the ability for drivers, mainly W-2 drivers, to unassign or assign vehicles. So if I jump from vehicle to vehicle throughout the day, I have the ability to go ahead and do that. We have a couple of options for inspection reports. We have the ability for a driver to do a daily inspection and a weekly inspection, or we can turn the daily inspection off and only the weekly inspection is required. Now if I assign myself to a vehicle that's been longer than 7 days or 1,000 miles, the weekly inspection will show up required. And you will not be able to process a trip until that inspection report is complete. So if I go to my dashboard and attempt to process a trip, I get a message that the inspection report is required. So I need to go back to driver management and complete this weekly inspection in order to move forward. So it's going to ask you for your VIN number, your odometer reading. And there's just a message that comes up. I don't keep track of my odometer readings on these test vehicles, but it's just saying that the value of your reading is 5,000 miles more than what it was before. If you're putting in true numbers every time you do this, you shouldn't see this message. Now it's more of just a warning. It doesn't stop you from completing the inspection report. The checklist just allows you to go through. If everything's good, you can leave them green. Otherwise, you can say it needs immediate attention, requires immediate attention, or maybe something isn't applicable. You have the ability to write some notes, and then you have to finish or sign this report by putting in your PIN number. Once that's complete, then I can move forward with processing a trip. I'm going to go back to driver management. For W-2 drivers, we also have the ability to clock in and clock out throughout the day. You also have the ability to write notes. Back to the office if you need to. This will also get you back to your schedule. Now again, if none of these options are available to you as a driver, you will not see this driver management screen, and if you try to click on driver management, it will not bring you there. So you'll be brought right to your dashboard. So on your dashboard, it's going to display all of your assigned trips for the day. It's in order of pickup time. The client's name's highlighted in red. The leg of the trip is up there, so leg 1, leg 2, leg 3, leg 4, leg 5. If it's a wheelchair trip, it'll show an icon of a wheelchair. If it's a stretcher, it will show an icon of a stretcher. We've got two different options here as well. We have the ability to have drivers review and accept trips as well as turn them back. This would more than likely be assigned to a company that utilizes independent contractors, 1099 drivers. And if I turn a ride back, it will unassign the driver and send it back to dispatch for scheduling. Now this option is purely decided by your company. If it's not wanted or not needed, then when you log into your dashboard, this status you'll see is the one above. It just gives you the option to select the trip and process it. Now if for some reason you can't service a trip that doesn't have the accept turn back feature, then you need to call into dispatch to get it unassigned. If there's a note for the trip, you'll see a button for notes. If there's no note, you won't see a button. So you can click on the notes, review what the notes are. Now we're just going to process a trip. It gives you some details, the pickup time, appointment time, where you're picking up, where you're dropping off. If there's two phone numbers available for a client, you'll see call 1 and call 2. And you can click on the call button and it will send the number right to your phone to call. So I'm going to select this trip to process. It gives you some more details. Again, you can click on the phone number if you need to from here. First thing that you would do is you say, I'm on my way or I'm en route to go pick up this person. We also have Google Maps. You can click on the Google button and it will give you driving directions from your current location to the pickup address at this point. So I'm going to say that I'm on my way, and this is the only confirmation that you're going to get. Make sure that you've selected the appropriate trip. So it's just asking you to confirm that you're going to pick up this person. If you hit cancel, you have the ability to then go back and choose another trip. So yes, I'm on my way. I have arrived. Now certain trips will require you to enter your odometer reading. So if it's required, you'll see it here in red. If it's not required, it won't show up. In this instance, it's required, so I need to enter in an odometer reading. And then either I'm going to depart with the client, because I've already arrived at their home, so I'm going to leave with the client to their clinic, or they didn't show up. Now if you accidentally click no show, you have the ability to back out of that. So when you see this message, are you sure you want to mark this trip as no show? If you hit OK, it's going to clear it from your screen. And if you move past this point by accident, you have to call into the office to have them make the adjustment. But if you hit cancel, you have the ability to then choose depart. So I've left with the person. Once I get to the clinic, I can hit end. It asks you who's signing. It always defaults to the member, but if you need to go in and get a facility signature, you need to change that. Then we need to obtain the client signature. The printed name is optional and typically is used when you're getting a facility signature, so you would know who at the facility signed it. Again, the odometer reading was required here, so we need to enter in an end odometer. The only thing that might happen here is the end odometer always has to be greater than your starting odometer. So if you entered in, so for example, my starting odometer I entered in as 123 miles. If I enter 122 miles, enter my PIN number, hit confirm, it's going to tell me that my odometer needs to be larger than my start. Now, I wouldn't get too hung up on this. If you keyed something in wrong, things can always be adjusted after the fact. What I would suggest is either reviewing what you typed in here, or adding another 0 to it, or continue to add zeros to it until you're able to confirm the trip. You also have the ability to enter some notes on the trip if something occurred that you want to document on the way. So once I hit confirm, the trip clears from my screen, and I've gotten the signature and everything's been sent back to the office. Now you have the ability, there's a couple of filters here in this menu. I can see pending trips. In this event I don't have any. Actually I do have a couple. So pending trips are trips that haven't been started or touched at all. Live trips are trips that I'm currently in. So if I come back here, accept this trip, select it, and say I'm on my way, I'm en route, I can go back to look at live trips, and now that trip is in here, the one that I'm actively in. You also have the ability to then go back if you want to or need to, and so for example I've picked up Joe, and then I can say I'm coming to pick up this other test client. So in the event that you maybe load multiple people at one time, so I've arrived now at this person's house and I've left with this person. And then if you come back to the live view, you see both of those trips. So and it tells you what status you've left the trip off at. So then you can continue on, and so it just allows you to only see what you're currently working on, as well as give you the ability to load multiple people at the same time. So I can hit arrive here, put an odometer reading, and then move forward from there. The completed rides will show you ones that are complete. So these are 2 trips that we've completed today if you ever need to see them or gain access to them. On the right hand side you have the ability to change the date, so if you want to look at your schedule for tomorrow or something you did for last week, you can do that. This just refreshes the page if you need to, and this logs you out. The other thing that happens is if you get a ride assigned to you, so I'm currently looking at the dashboard, and if someone in the office assigns a ride to me, and I'm just working on doing that, give me a moment. So I'm going to start out actually by unassigning a vehicle. Okay, so I'm going to assign this to a different person. So the screen just refreshed on its own because I'm looking at the dashboard. So in that event I didn't get a push notification. The trip essentially was just removed from my schedule. Now, if I am not on my dashboard, if I'm in driver management, or I simply just don't have it active up on the screen, and that same thing occurs where a trip gets removed from me, you're then sent a notification. Drag this down. So I was sent a notification that the trip was canceled. Let me do that again so I can actually show you the notification. you can see a notification popped up, and you can see that trip canceled for Joe Jackson at 12 a.m. Now if a ride is added to my schedule, I'll see the same type of notification. So I just added a trip, and this trip was added to me. So you'll get notified when trips are added or removed. You'll also get notified if a time has changed on a trip as well. One of the last features I would talk about here is the fact that the system has the ability or the potential to go offline. So if I'm in my dashboard or processing a trip, and so I've got a few trips started here in an end status, and let's say I go out of service, and when I do this I just put it in airplane mode, so it's going to completely shut down my data, my Wi-Fi, everything. And I might have to acknowledge this on my screen, so give me one moment. And we'll come back up. And since I put it on airplane mode, actually it actually also shut down my my connection to the screen share of my phone. So it will be a little difficult to show you that, so I need to turn it back on. So I'm going to take a screenshot of that so I can display it to you. And I'm just working on getting it connected again, so give me one moment. Okay, so I'm going to show you the screenshot that I just did here. Essentially what it will say is, you can see it says online, and it really just kind of goes dark a little bit. The outline goes black and it says that you're offline. Takes me a minute. It's going to take me a minute to find the screenshot, so bear with me. Okay, so here's a screenshot of what it looked like when I was offline. Top right hand corner says I'm offline, and then when it comes back online it says that you're online. So when I'm offline, I still have the ability to process a trip, just like I would when I'm online. So you would go back to the dashboard. You can continue to click buttons. You can end the trip. You can capture signature, and then when you come back online, all of that stuff that you captured will then be pushed back to your company's software. Alright, so to just kind of recap and just to generally go through the process from start to finish, I'm going to do one more trip. So in this event, I've got accept turn back turn on. I'm going to accept the trip. I'm going to select the trip. I'm going to say that I'm en route. I'm on my way to go pick up Joe Jackson. Yes. This trip requires an odometer reading, so I'm going to enter my odometer reading and say I'm leaving with the client. I've made it to the clinic, so I'm going to hit end. The member is the person that's signing. I'm going to get their signature. This requires an odometer reading again. I'm going to enter my odometer, and I'm going to enter my PIN number, and I'm going to confirm all this information, and the trip's complete. This concludes the mobile driver application training. If there are any questions on the process, please feel free to ask. And if there's any comments or suggestions, we more than welcome that. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.